Are you planning a trip to Universal Orlando this year? Well, keep watching because we have our top 20 tips to help you plan your next Universal Orlando vacation. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Summer and I own Fantasyworks Travel, where we help families plan the ultimate Disney or Universal Orlando vacation. If you like all the things Disney and Universal, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our great helpful videos that we have coming up. Now let's get into these great tips. Okay, so my first tip is for you to get your tickets in advance. Tickets are more expensive at the gate, and not only are they more expensive, but the lines can get long to purchase your tickets at the gate, and that results in a loss of your time waiting to get your tickets instead of getting in line for the rides. My second tip is to get a park-to-park ticket. So there are a couple different types of tickets for Universal. So you can get a single park ticket, which means that you can visit one park per day. And then you can also get a park-to-park ticket, which means that you can visit both parks in the same day. Now, why would you want a park-to-park ticket when you think that you're going to take the whole day to explore? Okay, so the only way that you can ride the Hogwarts Express, which is the train that transports you from Universal Studios to Islands of Adventure to between the two Harry Potter worlds, that's the only way you can ride. You have to have that park-to-park ticket to ride the Hogwarts Express, and they do scan your ticket each time you board, so you will have to have that. So if that is a priority to you, that's the kind of ticket you have to have. Next thing is it's super convenient for you to hop from park to park. Both the parks are on each end of City Walk. You can easily walk between them, or you can ride the train however you want to do it, but it is very convenient to get back and forth, whereas at Disney you have to get on a bus and leave, and that takes a lot more time. Another thing is one park always closes earlier than the other park. So what you can do is you can ride everything at one park, and then when it's close to closing time, you can hop over to the other park and you have another hour or so, or earlier if you leave earlier, to maximize your time. Also, you can see the wait times in the Universal Orlando app for both parks. So if you go to one park and it's super busy, for instance, the park that has the early hour is going to be busier than the other park because everybody went there. So what you can do is after you use that early hour, you can check the wait times, and if it's lower wait times at the other park, then you can just hop on over to the other park and take advantage of the lower wait times. That was super convenient on our most recent trip. We did that a couple of times. We said, hey, it's really busy here, but it's not so busy over there, so we're going to go over there for a couple hours. It just allows that extra flexibility in your day to maximize your time. You spend a lot of money on these tickets, so spend the extra, get the park to park. That way you can make sure you can maximize your time in your day. So my next tip, go for at least 3 days. 4 if you want to do Volcano Bay. So Universal has 3 parks: Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay, the water park. It's definitely challenging to get everything done in the 2 days, especially if it's a busier time of year. So you really need 1 day for each park, and then an extra day to go back and do everything that you did not get to do, or do your favorites again that last day. Also, if you want to visit Volcano Bay, I would add that 4th day. This just allows you to have more of a leisurely, relaxed time and not be so stressed out that you can't get everything done in the shorter amount of time. It isn't all that much more to add that extra night at the hotel. Universal hotels are pretty affordable, especially if you're at one of the more budget-friendly ones. So just take that into consideration when you say, how many days do I need? We recommend at least 3 days, and 4 if you want to do the water park. My next tip is download the Universal app. So in the Universal app, you can check your park hours, you can mobile order, you can look at wait times, you can access the virtual line rides and get a time for a virtual ride. You can add your ticket to the app to make it super convenient. So you can do all of that within the app. It is literally your guide. Also within the app, something really cool you can do is you can actually go to a ride that you want to ride, and you can set a notification for a wait time. So say you want to ride the Hulk coaster and it is a 60-minute wait and you don't want to wait that long, but you'll wait 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You can go into the app and you can set the time to notify you when the wait time gets less than 30 minutes. And that's super helpful. So you don't have to keep checking. You can just go in there and set that, and then you'll get notifications. So that's a great thing about the app. Another tip that I have is to go during a non-peak time if you can. Now I understand with school breaks, you know, if you're a teacher or you can't take time off, or your kids have school all year and they can't miss, then you do what you can do, right? But school holidays and holidays in general and the weekends are busier than any other time in the park. So if you can, go during a lower peak time. And if not, I highly recommend the Express Pass, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, that will help you maximize your time during the busy times. This next tip is to stay at a Universal hotel. So the Universal hotels are super convenient. They're all really close to each other. They're close to the parks. Even the ones that are further away, such as like the Endless Summer Resorts, the Dockside and Surfside, they're further away, but it took 5 minutes on the bus. So they're still super close. But when you stay at a Universal hotel, you get the early park access up to an hour early before non-hotel guests. So that's convenient to get in and ride maybe all the Harry Potter things before everybody else gets there. You also get free transportation, depending on which resort you're staying at. They've got a boat, they've got the buses. So depending on where you're staying, there's different things. There's even hotels that you can walk to the resorts from. So that's super convenient. Also, you get free merchandise delivery. So say you purchase something at a park and you don't want to carry it around all day, you can have that sent to your hotel and you don't have to carry it around. It'll just be there waiting for you to pick it up. You can also use your room key to charge things. It's super convenient to scan your park ticket or give them your room number and they can just make all the charges there. So yeah, stay at a Universal hotel, and they are awesome. We love the Universal hotels. I have a Cabana Bay tour on my channel if you want to check that out. I will try to link that up in the cards. And then we also, this past trip, we did the Endless Summer Dockside Inn and Suites. So I have that video coming, as well as resort tours on both of those. So definitely make sure you like and subscribe so you can get the notifications for those videos, so you can figure out where you want to stay. Okay, so my next tip is the Express Pass. Now, Express Pass is expensive, I'm not gonna lie, okay? But every client that I have had that has purchased the Express Pass said that it was 100% worth it. It cut their wait times at least in half, sometimes dropping it from a 45-minute wait to a 10-minute wait. So especially if you're only going for 1 or 2 days, I would highly recommend, if you're going during a peak time where it's a holiday or a weekend, or like October where they have Halloween Horror Nights, it's super busy, get the Express Pass. So what is Express Pass? Express Pass is a separate ticket that allows you to skip the main line on most rides and attractions. There are a couple exceptions. And there's 2 types. There's the Universal Express Pass, which allows you to skip the line 1 time per ride. And then there's the Universal Express Unlimited, which allows you to skip the line as many times as you want per ride. So there's different pricing for each of those, depending on if you think you're going to ride things over and over. If you want to save a little money, just do the 1 time, however you want to do it. You purchase Express Passes as a separate ticket. So you can purchase them ahead of your visit. If you are going during a busy time and you know it's going to be busier, or you just know that you want to get it, you can purchase those ahead of time. You can also purchase them at the park. However, keep in mind that they do limit how many they sell per day. So if you get to the park and it's really busy and you decide you want to get it, they may be sold out. So just keep that in mind. So also consider staying in a premier resort. If you stay at the Hard Rock Hotel, Volcano Bay, or Royal Pacific, you can get the Express Unlimited Pass for free included with your stay. And most of the time it is cheaper to stay there and get the free Express passes than it is to stay somewhere cheaper and purchase them out of pocket. So just keep that in mind. Now this next tip is to get a refillable mug. So I have a refillable mug here, and these are what the Universal has within their theme parks. So they have the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines all throughout the parks, the resorts, and City Walk. You purchase the cup, it's $15.99 for the first day. And if you buy more than one, you buy two, there's a discount. If you buy three, there's a bigger discount. And then you reactivate the mug each day, and it's $9.99 for refills. And you refill it for the day, and then you can refill it as many times as you want. Now, say you're not a big soda drinker. You can also get water, which if you've ever had the Florida water from the fountains or just the free that you get from the quick service locations, I'm not a fan of Florida water. It tastes different, maybe if you're used to it, but I'm not a big fan. So you can get ice and water from the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines, and it just tastes better. So even if you're just doing water, I still feel like it's super worth it. I mean, you can pay $3, $3.50 for a bottle of water, and this is $9.99 and get you all day. And it's say if you're going, you know, with your family, you can get a couple of them and you can share. So that is super convenient. You can also use them for ices, and some people may not know that. One thing to note about the refillable mugs is that there are different refillable mugs for the resorts. So they are not interchangeable. These are for the theme parks. The resorts have different ones, and you cannot fill this one up for free at the resort, only at the parks. And then the resorts have a different mug that you can use for the resorts. I wish they were interchangeable. I wish you could use it at both places, but that's just how it is. So my next tip is the Hogwarts Express. Take the Hogwarts Express. It is a great attraction. It really is like a ride. It is a different experience both ways, so you want to take it both ways. And wait times can get long, just so you know. But you do need that park-to-park ticket to ride, so make sure that first things is that you have your park-to-park ticket. And wait times are long. Right now, they're only loading one party per car, and so that makes the wait time a little bit longer. And out of all the rides that we rode this past trip, the wait time for the Hogwarts Express was one of the ones that was really true to what was posted, whereas a lot of the other wait times, and if you'll watch another video I'll put up, I'll talk about the wait times and what they were actually compared to what they were posted. But they're only loading one party at a time. However, if you have the Express Pass, you can use the Express Pass for this ride, and it would make it highly worth it. Okay, my next tip is to pack light. There are several rides at Universal that you are unable to bring backpacks on, whereas at Disney, you can pretty much take a backpack on anything that you want. Now, Universal does have free lockers that are provided at the attractions that do not allow you to take bags. However, they are quite small. So if you have a lot of things that you are bringing, I recommend that you pack them in several smaller sacks or backpacks for different people, and then get more than one locker. A larger backpack will have a hard time fitting in the small backpack or the small lockers. Now you can wear a fanny pack, which is what I prefer to do in the park. I wear a fanny pack. You can wear it on most of the rides that they have. Hulk and Rip Ride Rocket, as well as the new Velocicoaster that's opening, those are going to require you to walk through a metal detector, and you literally cannot have anything on you other than your lanyard, which you tuck into your shirt. You can't have anything on you. No phones, no change, nothing. You walk through a metal detector, it all has to go in a locker. So pack light. My next tip is to use and wear a lanyard. So when you're at Universal, you get a paper ticket, okay? If you have a dining plan, you're gonna have a dining card. If you have an Express Pass, you're going to have an Express card. So it's really convenient if you have a lanyard that you can wear around your neck. You also will use your park ticket for your lockers. You will have to scan your park ticket when you enter. So it just makes it super convenient to scan and use throughout the park if you have a lanyard. Now, if you are a client of ours and you work with Fantasyworks Travel, we will provide every person in your party a lanyard included in your travel packet. Next tip is to get an interactive wand. So the Wizarding World of Harry Potter has these interactive wands that you can purchase. And then around the park, there are special things that will happen when you wave your wand like this. Where you wave your wand and you can make it rain, you can make things light up, you can make things move. So it's a pretty cool experience. Now, you can purchase these throughout the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at different shops and carts. You can also do the wand experience at Ollivander's, which I have another video of our experience there, and I will link that in the cards. But you can get chosen to participate in the wand choosing the wizard ceremony. Now, it is a really cool experience. You do not have to purchase the wand that chooses you. They will walk you into the shop after the experience, and you can either choose to purchase the wand that chose you, or you can choose to purchase another wand, or you can not purchase a wand at all. It's not required. So it's a pretty cool experience. You get a map of all the interactive locations within the two worlds. So you can go around and you can see every place that you can use it at. So it's pretty cool. My daughter really loved it. Next tip is really important for any time you go to Florida. Be prepared for Florida weather. So not only does it get hot in Florida, especially in the summertime, it can also be very wet depending on what time of year you visit. You know, like the summertime through September, it's hurricane season. It can literally rain just about every afternoon. So be prepared so that you can still enjoy the parks even if it's raining. So bring ponchos or an umbrella. So an umbrella can also shield you from the heat of the sun. So if you're outside and you're waiting in line in the hot sun, it can help shade you and give you some relief from that. Also, make sure you drink plenty of water before you go to Universal. If you wait till you get there to start drinking water, it's going to be too late. So start preparing for your trip by drinking water before you go, leading up to go, so that your body is hydrated. That way you can sustain the heat a little bit better. Take breaks. Plan indoor shows and attractions for the middle of the afternoon when it's the hottest part of the day. Visit the pool at your resort. Definitely visit Volcano Bay because it's amazing and it provides a much needed relief. We'll talk about Volcano Bay here in a little bit. So yeah, be prepared for Florida weather. Another tip, be prepared for water rides. Islands of Adventure in particular is a very wet park, meaning that there are several water rides and some you can get soaked. Be prepared for that. So you can be prepared by bringing a change of clothes if you'd like, or shoes. Shoes definitely, because there's nothing worse than soaking wet tennis shoes walking around a theme park for hours. There's lockers available. However, since lockers are not required for the ride, you do have to pay for them. It's $2 or $3 to get a locker. Another option would be ponchos. So what we did on our most recent trip is we had ponchos. We wore a poncho and we put a poncho over our bag between our legs to keep our things dry. We also took a pair of sandals in our backpack and we just changed our shoes out before we got on, so that way we did not have to deal with the wet tennis shoes. So there's also dryers, those big dryers that your whole family can get in, and it like blows you like crazy. So there's dryers that you can pay for right outside the water rides that you can try to get dry as well. My next tip, and this is one that I learned from this past experience, get there early. So whatever time you can get there, if you can get in at early park hours, get there earlier than early park hours. If you can't get in until the park opens, get there before the park opens. So on our trip a couple of weeks ago, early park hours began at 8 a.m. And at 7:30, I was running a tad behind, but at 7:30, I thought, oh, I'll just go hop on the bus and it'll be fine. It's 5 minutes away. At 7:30, I tried to catch a bus, and the line was crazy. From the bus stop all the way around to the front door of the hotel, people were backed up trying to go. And it was a Tuesday. It was super weird. It wasn't as busy as like spring break week or anything was, but it was crazy. So I ended up having to catch an Uber to the park. Now, Uber was super convenient. I think it was like $10 or $15. I got there in like 5 or 10 minutes. Not a big deal. But when I got there, there was a massive line outside to get in. And by the time I got through the line and I scanned in to get into the park, it was 8:30, which was already 30 minutes after the park opened for early park access. And I definitely missed out on some of the lower wait times. I was watching it in the app. I was literally standing there watching the wait times increase while I was standing in line outside. If we would have arrived maybe by 7 a.m., we would have had less than a 30-minute wait for Hagrid's. But by the time we got there and we got in line, it was already at 60 minutes. That brings me to my next tip, because we talked about Hagrid's. Use Virtual Line. So Virtual Line is a service that is offered for free through the Universal app. And it's not for every attraction, it's certain attractions. But at busier times, they'll open up a virtual line where you can go into the app and you can select a time to come back and ride that attraction. The most popular ride, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, which is amazing. It really is the best. But on busier days, they'll do virtual line. During the early hour of park admission, they do standby only. But then sometimes by the time you're through the line, it'll be virtual line. So what I would recommend is still to get to the parks before park opening and rush over to Hagrid's and stand in the standby line. The reason for this is because if they don't open virtual line, which we noticed several days of our last trip, is that they didn't do virtual line at all. And the morning wait is going to be the shortest wait of the day if they don't do virtual line. This ride is highly popular. It gets really long wait times, sometimes 2 hours or more. Definitely worth a 2-hour wait though. I would wait 2 hours for it, so definitely ride it. But that way you can be sure that you can get on the shortest wait time. So go in the morning. While you're in line, check for virtual line. If they open that virtual line, snag one and come back and ride it again later. That's what we did. We actually rode it twice and had a virtual line for a third time. So we were able to get 2 or 3 other virtual passes between the people in my party, and we got to ride it more than one time. So definitely recommend that. Another tip that I have is kind of fun, just to know, is that the dragon in Diagon Alley actually breathes fire. So on my first visit, I wasn't really aware of when it happens, and I asked the team member, and they were kind of like, oh, she has a mind of her own. And so I never really understood it, but on my last trip, I paid more attention to it, and I noticed that when it was about to happen, the dragon would growl once, and then wait a little bit, and then it would growl again. And when it growls that second time, that's when it breathes the fire. Is that the first growl or the second one?
Oh, that was the first growl. They don't stop.
So pay attention to that and watch for that. It's definitely a cool photo opportunity, so have your camera ready. We got lots of great footage with the dragon breathing fire. Then we actually realized when it happens, so that's super cool. My next tip is to use Child Swap. Now, Child Swap is something where if you have somebody who does not meet the height requirements or just doesn't want to ride, that there is a separate waiting area so that everyone in your party can ride and someone can wait with the child or person that does not want to ride. Universal does this so much better than Disney, in my opinion, because they actually have child swap rooms, and a lot of them are air conditioned. Some of them have TVs playing cartoons to keep the little ones entertained. So the way it works is your entire party would come through the line and you would wait, and then when you got to the front, you would tell the attendant that you want to use child swap, and then they would take those that are going to wait to ride with the child or the other person that's not riding to the waiting room or waiting area, and then you would ride, and then when you get off the attraction, then the rest of the other people that are going to ride would come in and ride. So it's super convenient to be able to ride. In fact, on our first trip, this is how we got to ride Hagrid's so many times, because we used child swap, and so some of us would ride first, and then the next people would go again, and we got virtual passes, and so we got to ride multiple times because they'll let people go with you to ride the second time. So that's a good tip. One of the most important things to do when you are at Universal Orlando is don't miss the butterbeer. So butterbeer, I'm sure you've heard it talked about, is amazing. It's a drink that you get in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It comes in several different varieties. It's one of our favorite things to get while we're there, and I think the first time we went, like we had the dining plan and we used all of our snacks for that because it was so good and there was nothing else that we would prefer more. So there's several places to get butterbeer. The most prominent location is the cart that's outside that says butterbeer across the outside of it. I would discourage against that location because since it is so visual, it gets the longest lines throughout the day, and it's in the heat of the sun. So you're gonna stand there and wait for a long time to get your drink. So you can get the Fountain of Fair Fortune in Diagon Alley is where we found to have the lowest lines. It's an indoor location. It's kind of off the beaten path, if you will, so people don't really know about it, and it's indoors, so you don't have to stand out in the heat. So definitely check out the Fountain of Fair Fortune in Diagon Alley to get your butterbeer. Now there are several varieties of butterbeer, so you can get cold, you can get frozen. They also have a hot version, which is seasonal, so in the cooler months. They also have butterbeer potted cream, which is kind of a less sweet variety. It's kind of like a cream, like the cream topping that they put on it. And you can also get butterbeer ice cream or butterbeer fudge, which we tried the fudge this time because I brought some home to my kiddos and it was really good. So lots of varieties, don't miss it, it's a must-do. And finally, my last tip for your Universal vacation is to visit Volcano Bay. Now, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, well, I'm not really a water park person, and they kind of compare it to like their local water park wherever they live. It is so different, and most people do not include it with their Disney or Universal vacation. They don't visit the water parks. However, I highly recommend Volcano Bay. It is such a relaxing tropical atmosphere with fun rides, lots of places to relax, lots of places to get food and drinks, and it gives you a much needed break from the heat of Orlando, and right now you have to wear a face covering, so it gives you a break from the face covering. Face coverings are only required when in the shops and the dining establishments. They do highly encourage you to wear that while you walk around, but it is not required just to walk around, and you cannot wear them in the pools or on the rides. So it gives you that break. There's also a virtual line system where you wear a watch called a Tapu Tapu. You can scan in for a ride and it'll tell you the wait time, and then you can swim or go to the lazy river or relax or have a drink or whatever you want to do, and it will alert you to tell you when it's your time to wait to get in line. That's super convenient, so you're in line when you don't really feel like you're in line. So it's different than every other theme park. Another thing about Volcano Bay is you don't have to carry the tubes up the stairs. How many water parks have you been to where you have to get your tube at the bottom and carry it all the way up the stairs? I mean, come on, the stairs is enough. Like, to try to carry something up, that's crazy. So that's what I love about Volcano Bay is all the tubes are at the top. You literally climb up and you get your tube at the top. So that's pretty awesome. Volcano Bay has early park hours for on-site guests. Now, the early park hours don't start until 30 minutes prior to park opening. However, it still allows you enough time to get the first choice for seating. But when we were there, there was tons of seating everywhere, and we didn't even get there until like 11 o'clock, and the park opened at 10. So there was plenty of seating. But you get in a little early, you can get settled, you can decide what you want to do, you can get a game plan for the day. So that is a little bit of a perk. Also, if you're staying at Cabana Bay, you can walk right to Volcano Bay and you have your own entrance, and it's super convenient. So we rode all the tube rides when we were there. Very little waits. I think the only ride we scanned in for was for the aqua coaster, which, by the way, check out the aqua coaster because it's amazing. It is literally a water coaster on the water, and I think you can fit 3 or it might be 4 guests, and it's kind of like a log ride type contraption that you're in, but it's like a raft, and it literally propels you like a coaster through the attraction. So it's very different than anything I've seen at any other water park, so definitely try that out. Also check out the Fearless River, which is like a not so lazy river. It has waves in it. You have to wear a life vest. It is a lot of fun. We had a blast on that, so definitely check that out. So there you go, guys. Those are our best tips for planning your Universal Orlando vacation. Do you have a great Universal Orlando planning tip? If so, leave it in the comments below to share with everybody else watching the video, guys. And until next time, we'll see you later.